Hi, this is Roberto Casada, and I'm here with Walter at the screening of Phantasm, remastered at the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville. And I just wanted to let Walter know that I'm a big fan of iWalter.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky, it's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter. Strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
All right. Hey, it's Walter. I've been off for actually a week again. I had planned this weekend to do a show, and you know what? It actually almost did not happen, unfortunately. I'm just adjusting things, so I apologize about the wires just bouncing back and forth. It is actually the remainder for the next hour and a half, which I think I don't know. I can't even say, but I'm going to say it's like 10:35 right now. It's December 11th. Most likely, I always say the show is going to be short. And the one time I say, oh, no, it's going to be long, it'll be short. So I'm almost actually hoping for that because I'm not, up to doing a movie today. Yeah, I'd like to do a movie. A radio show tonight. But I decided I'm going to give it a shot. Thanks to Todd, give me some information. I had to get some stuff out of the way first. I wanted to kind of discuss. I had a bad day, actually. Because I came home, God love my parents, they do so much for me. I shouldn't complain about them, but I do. They're always running around, get me meals, get me stuff. So they mean well, but my parents say my mother actually brought home me a donut and a large iced tea from Dunkin' Donuts, and she comes and puts it in my room on my desk where all my computer equipment is, and I'm actually like flipping out. I hate to say it because she spilled the iced tea all over my computer components. Yeah. So I was not happy. I put thousands of dollars into this stuff, not all at once, but over a period of time to get it where I have it, where I'm kind of comfortable with what I do. And almost everything, no puns intended, just went down the drain because everything would have gotten destroyed. So because of that, I was not a happy camper. She didn't mean it, but, you got to remember that I put tons of money into this stuff, and, it would have been a total waste, because I would have had to start all over again. And, again, it cost a lot of money. So that was, an issue. I did want to mention, I'm looking for this story now. That's what I'm trying to do, because I thought I had it up. An issue, it's not a big deal, and, it's with Matt. Matt, you tell me, you just blow things off and things, so don't take what I say personally, because you got to practice what you preach, and if I say something, I'm not doing it to, nobody listens to me anyway. Actually, believe it or not, this last show I did only had 2 listeners, and for once, it actually was not me. I don't even think I ever got around to listen to myself. So, the one issue I do have, and it's not made up, it was like you kind of blew it off like it's something you can blow up, but actually I take very strong offense to it. Not to Matt, but you take offense to what I'm ready to say. So you got to remember, you're the one who told me not to take things offensively, so I'm just letting you know. But I found this story thanks to Todd, because I told him, and his response was quite different from Matt's. And I was at work on Friday night, and there was a woman I haven't worked with in a long time. She's a great person, and, I was like, hey, cool, you're helping me out today. Hey, I'm so happy. And it wasn't her, but there was this other lady she worked with, this older woman. She's got to be in her, I'd say, I'm going to guess her late 50s, early 60s, something like that. And this woman, I said to her, this lady I haven't worked with in a long time, this girl, whatever, and this other woman who's an older woman, I told Matt and I told my friend Todd about this, and they both got like different responses. One I kind of expected, the other one I didn't know what to say. But the cut to the chase, I basically said to them, hey, they said, hey, have happy holidays and stuff. And it's like, you know what? I don't like hearing happy holidays. I just say Merry Christmas, because since I was in middle school, actually before that, grade school, I remember going to like places like Methacton High School. That's not middle school, though. Actually, it was middle school. Arcola, Eagleville, and Woodland High School were all the schools I went to growing up in this area of North. Well, actually, Trooper, Eagleville, and I forget what else the other section is. So we talked about the holidays all the time. Like we had watched videos about St. Nick, about the birth of Christ. This was in regular high school because there was no, we also learned about evolution as well. I remember learning about Darwinism, Darwin, and we learned about both Christianity, because I went to a Catholic school, I went to Sunday school. But I think actually I learned this stuff in, believe it or not, in high school, or not high school, in public school. How's that? And it was never an issue. We just talked about it like it was second nature. It was not a big deal. We just talked about it, and it was end of story. But nowadays, here is a country, this is what bothers me, and I don't think Matt understood it the way why it upsets me, is I was brought up in this country. I'm not that old, but in this country, I'm old enough to realize that our forefathers, found this country for freedom of religion is one of the things. Well, now that's been withered away. So this is what bothered me. It definitely bothered my friend Todd. He got really pissed off when I told him this, that at this woman, that he took it like, because I'm not making this up. And I even said to my one friend, Matt, trust me, I did not misunderstand this lady. What she said was, downright, like, she gets offended. She always, this woman in particular, gets always offended by me, no matter what I do. She's like, she gets pissed off at me. And it's like for no reason at all, no good reason. She just does not like me. She made it very kind of obvious that she doesn't like me, which is ironic because years ago, that's what I think started her not liking me. Years ago, I used to work with a cousin of hers who looks exactly like her, this woman. I think they look a lot alike. But you're talking like yin and yang as far as personality. They look alike, but trust me, they're not the same person. Because there's one person's cousin that I used to work with. The woman was about the same age, around the same age. They're cousins. And she was real fun to talk to, and we used to joke all the time and, do other stuff. This lady, I can't joke with at all. And she... Actually, I want to reinstate this on my show, but I did say this to my friend Matt, and I think my friend Todd. She actually has an Obama sticker on her car, so that, well, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it actually does, because she really believes in that whole thing of minority repression to the max. I mean, I'm not even making up. She makes it very obvious. She doesn't try, like me talking about politics, about the conservative side is the way she is. It's like a mirror reflection of me. So I'm very open about being a conservative. She's very open about how she's been repressed and, minorities are not been treated fairly and stuff like that. So she was very serious when she said, you cannot say that. That's very offensive that I said Merry Christmas. I was just ready to tell her to F off. But, hey, she's an older lady for one thing. Now, I have basically no scruples when it comes to stuff like that because that really pisses me off. So it got me a little offended when Matt said, well, maybe you just, I knew he was going to say this. No offense, Matt, but I knew you were going to say, like, play the devil's advocate and play the, well, maybe you misunderstood this lady. It was like, no, I didn't misunderstand her at all. So anyway, thank you, Todd. He actually sent a story, reflecting upon how this does piss off people by not being able to speak about even Christmas anymore is considered an offensive thing to say. Like it's a dirty word anymore. So here, Todd sent me, thank you so much, this story. Christmas music was offensive. This was in the Daily UK Mail. Now, that's funny, actually, by the way. Rush Limbaugh, I was listening to the recap. I finally almost finished Friday's show. I didn't finish it all the way. And you know what? One incentive, I don't care why I would listen to Rush, but he does have, I would like you to listen to him because he has a lot of good stuff to say. But if this is the only way I can get people to listen, I'm just going to let you know right now for the one or two listeners out there. Definitely on every Friday show. It's called Open Line Friday, but during the week until Christmas probably, or, probably past into New Year's, Rush Limbaugh, if you're a caller that gets through and you, for no matter what reason it is, you just get through Snurdly, you will get a free iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, brand new of your choice, brand new of your carrier, a 256 gig phone, unlocked or locked to your service for absolutely free. Just going to throw a plug because I like Rush Limbaugh, and I'm not going to listen. I've been listening to him for years, so I really don't care, and I already own a phone. Just saying, though. So anyway, and the reason I played that final countdown from Europe in the beginning, I try to cut it down to so many seconds so I won't get in trouble, was because right now my final countdown's coming. I have 5 more days left to work, and I'm off for the rest of the year. The whole entire year, 2 weeks. So I'm very much so looking forward to that. So, and by the way, I mentioned earlier, the last few minutes, actually, it's only been on for like 10 minutes. I'm testing out my equipment because, again, my mother didn't mean anything, but she spilled a big, whopping, large iced tea she bought for me at Dunkin' Donuts all over my computer equipment. And it was like, okay, this is the last thing. I was so pissed off, and it's like, I know you mean well, but I told her, I said, this stuff is not cheap, and it's very, very expensive. So it really pissed me off. So, again, I know it wasn't intentional, but when you're, my life in, sweat, blood and tears has gone into something ridiculous that gets no attention. I realize that, but it is something I do kind of look forward to doing. It's just getting started that is very difficult. That was all pretty much almost flushed down the drain if it does not work. I don't know yet. I'll find out when I'm done this show, because she also got iced tea on this amp box I use to do the recording through to my laptop. Not my computer. The computer I do need, too. I put tons of money into that, but I put tons of money into other stuff. Anyway, getting back to the story from the Daily Mail, the story was titled, Christmas Music Was Offensive. Diner at Florida Tapas Restaurant shocked owner by leaving note. A customer left a note urging staff to play holiday or less religious tunes. I almost said iTunes. So that actually offended them, or people got offended because the owners got pissed off, is what I'm gathering. Let's see what it says, because I saw this and I know why he sent it to me. Yeah, they want, like, one customer wrote on, let's see, here's what the note was written on the back of the receipt. Christmas music was offensive. Consider playing holiday music or less religious themed, was written in the back of this receipt from this diner. And, I see that pisses me off. Like, we're supposed to bend over backwards, buckle down to these people who bring their religions of, being a Muslim or some other ridiculous, I'm sorry, I can't help it, but some other ridiculous religion into our country, and we're supposed to accept it with open arms. We were founded on other religions other than that, and we're not allowed to even mention them anymore because somebody's going to find it offensive. I mean, I grew up, and I went to high school, middle school again, with people like this one kid. His name was, I can't remember his name. I think it was Jeff or something like that. That was a common name anyway. But anyway, he was a Jewish kid, and I knew a lot of Jewish kids that they would actually celebrate both Christmas and, Hanukkah. I was like, hey, we got more gifts this way. So, and the parents allowed that. But do we, like, make a big issue out of, oh, well, hey, you're Jewish. Honestly, it's funny because they never really complained. They just accepted the fact that, what do you call it? That Christmas was like more noted than actually, what do you call it? Than Hanukkah. Like they didn't give much They didn't give it much attention, I should say, to Hanukkah, which kind of like was disturbing. It's like, okay, this poor guy, he's Jewish, but he didn't really care either. He really did not care, and the parents kind of accepted. They didn't make a big deal. They didn't go to the principal's office or the school board and say, you know what, this is not fair. You should be celebrating Hanukkah as well as Christmas. No, they did not make a big deal out of it. Now, all of a sudden, for the last 8 years since we've had Barack Obama, every other religion, and it still gets pushed down to the very bottom, Hanukkah, you don't hear about that, but everything else has taken like top priority on every other person's religion and their religious beliefs. And, you know, it was bad enough for growing up to knowing this, and nobody made a big deal out of it, though, that Hanukkah was pushed down. I'm not Jewish. I'm Christian, Catholic. But now we're getting pushed down too. I mean, this is ridiculous. Now, you can call this karma, but I don't call this karma. I just call this ridiculous. I mean, I think this is horrible thanks to all these other cultures. Now, I'm going to have to find this other story when I'm on this line, because this was something actually Todd brought to my attention today. I did want to mention something else that, what do you call it? That Matt said that I felt a little offended by, and I'm just telling you, I had taken offense to it. But before I go into this, I want to continue on this path that I've started. And I didn't hear about this. My friend Todd told me about it. It was about a girl named, now she's actually very cute too. She works for a company called Aramark, and this was just the other day. It was the 5th. Because today's the 11th or 12th now? No, it's the 11th still. It'll be the 12th by the time I'm done. But I was glad he brought this to my attention. It's like, dude, I'm using this on my podcast tonight. If I do one, which I am now, it is titled Pistachio Girl Fired by Aramark in Wake of White National Support. Again, I think she's a very cute girl. He said, oh, she's a little bit heavy. And I was like, I don't know. I think she's very cute, and she's very well spoken for. She was on somebody else's podcast, and I actually found this on crossingabroad.com. Never heard of it before, but it's another well-put-together podcast by a really hot-looking woman. Not that it's important. Anyway, I did kind of listen to it while I was eating out at at Sonic today, so I couldn't, and I was going to listen to it again, I forgot to, so I apologize, but her name is Emily, it looks like Ulysses or something. Well, you can find it, because I have it on my Facebook page, or just look for Aramark Girl Who Was Fired. That's how I found it right away, or just Pistachio Girl Who Was Fired. I can't spell pistachio, so I put the other thing in. And what this girl is, she's just like fed up, because right now, everywhere in the globe, the white population, or Caucasians around the globe, especially in the United States, are becoming quickly the minority in every culture. And yet they're the ones who are ostracizing and holding back all these minorities. Well, the minorities are taking over, and even my friend Todd said the large reason for this, and this is why this girl is protesting, against minorities, because they're basically overruling everything and pushing us down to like non-existent. So Emily lost her job for what she believed in, and she was called like basically some type of neo-Nazi or something like that. She lost her job. She knew what was going to happen. So even my friend Todd, by the way, said, is what I wanted to mention, is she's actually sticking up for people like ourselves, because not only for that reason, but because we're getting, again, these other countries like Germany and stuff, my friend Todd said, these countries are getting overran now by these other cultures like the migrants, the Muslims, and they're basically replacing their religion with their the religion that exists in these countries with their own, with these other cultures. And we're being pushed out of our own freaking homes, pretty much, our own countries. So I'm going to look at this quickly, and you can check it out. I would definitely encourage people to read it. In case you missed out on the whole story around this, I'm just going to go by Emily because I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. Caught some heat last month when she showed up to showed support for National Policy Institute conference. Despite the Born as Hell name, the NPI is run by Richard Spencer, that is a well-dressed neo-Nazi everyone keeps talking about. So they basically already placed this person as a neo-Nazi. And you have to understand the whole picture. When you hear this girl talk, she really makes a lot of sense what she is trying to say. But they're going to downplay this into a white power neo-Nazi type thing. Anyway, it says who the Southern Poverty Law Center called a professional racist in khakis who supports a white ethno-state in the U.S. and encourages hail signs or whatever, like Hail Hitler kind of things. Hi Hitler? Something like that. Anyway, I'm not doing a very good job. I would say to check this out. Listen what Emily has to say. Let's see. She expressed her desire to stand up for white America, which is the backbone of this country. That's basically what this is about. She wants to stand up for what made this country initially, our forefathers. That's being basically pushed away as being racist and bigoted. Our forefathers. And she is trying to save this. This is what Emily stood up in. She was willing. She knew she was eventually, she said, I knew eventually this was going to lead to the end of my job, but, I wanted to stand up in what I believed in. So I got to give Emily a lot of credit. I think, I'm actually very impressed by her and what she had to say. The interview was about, I think, 12 minutes. And I did listen to it, honestly, but it was so low I couldn't really recite what it said, and I can't get the correct pronunciation of her last name. But it's definitely worth something to check out. Reason I'm bringing up about Emily now, or Pistachio Girl, who works at these, for Aramark at these, it says Citizens Bank Park. That's where she used to work. Is because it goes back to, I think, why my friend Todd brought this to my attention also, is because now everything is about political correctness. It's not about what is right for everyone, but what is right for the individual who is basically has intruded our country, or just basically is basically an overgrown child who the only right way is their way. Like there is no what do you call it? No middle ground. It's like one way, and that's their way, or my way or the highway kind of thing. From people that basically come in our country and just take it over and monopolize their beliefs onto us. Like there is no other way to put it. So yeah, that part really does dig deep with a lot of people that believe we need to save this country. And obviously she is one of them, Emily. So I just wanted to mention that. The other thing that kind of upset me a little bit with Matt, I'm just saying, because generally I can't talk to people live on the phone anymore. Sorry about that. But the other thing was he went and seen a movie. Hey, that's fine, but I have to kind of dig a little on that one too, because he quote unquote, I saved the message, but for a while there because it really upset me. But he said, "Hey, Walter, this is fine, Matt, because trust me, you're going to be the only other person who listens to the show. I think even the people at work really have lost interest to listen to me because I only do them once a week. I'm not doing them on a daily basis like I used to." But you mentioned that, it was a movie for adults. Well, that's very belittling to say that well, Walter, you act very childish and you only watch childish films. So I don't think you would enjoy this because this is meant for adults, not for people who think like kids. Well, I do watch a lot of kids' movies and TV shows. I'm not going to deny the fact, but you know what? I hate to say this, but I really am not the only one. It was funny because there's this girl at work. She's in her early 30s, and she loves all those Harry Potter movies. Now you're going to say, well, she's only in her early 30s. Well, there is people I worked with in their early 40s that watched all these Harry Potter movies. Well, they're in their early 40s. Well, it was funny when I mentioned about this. I don't mock her and say, well, you know what? Hey, if you want to watch these children's films, go right ahead. I don't try to insult or belittle or demonize or whatever you want to say. Demonize is not the correct word. I don't belittle people. That's my thing. I mean, sometimes I do on my show, but people who know me, unless you really piss me off, then I will probably throw some digs and start belittling people. But as a whole, I don't do that stuff. It's not very I don't even use the word professional. It's just not very nice. How's that? So, it's not my nature to go out of my way to, not saying that Matt did this, I'm just saying how it offended me. How you like that? It was very offensive. And, not that I get easily offended, but when somebody says really belittle somebody, not saying he did or didn't, but it does seem that way, then I take offense to that. Just letting you know, because you're going to be the only listener, Matt. I'd like to get other ones. Once in a while I do, but most of the time I don't. Oh, and if I didn't mention that, maybe I started to and I went off on a stray. Again, the reason I play that little soundbite of the final countdown is because I only have 5 days left, just to reinstate that, until I'm off for the rest of the year. So I'm just putting that in. But it was funny because there was this guy at work. I really like talking to him. He's got a job position way above mine, and I'm an assistant to him. And this guy, his name's John. There's like a whole crap load of Johns at my job. And John was saying, yeah, my dad, his father, he's like my age. This guy, John's my age. So his father's got to be probably around my parents' age, or probably even older, because I know my friend Matt's younger than me, but his parents are about my parents' age, even though he's younger than me. And I've had people, like, their parents are much older than my parents, somewhat older, I should say, or whatever. So why I'm saying all this, I'm just trying to make sure. Yep, I have the knob off. I'm going to check something out on something and a video, and I don't want the audio to be distracted my show. So my friend, well, I consider him a friend. This guy John at work, he said, "Yeah, my dad, he talks about he likes all those Harry Potter movies." And it was like, well, you probably, I thought at first he meant like the books. I thought he meant the books. So he said no, he's watched and he talks about them like they're the greatest thing are the Harry Potter movies. And even I can't watch those because those are just a tad bit like too childish even for me. So, but I'm not going to go and say, I didn't say that in front of him. Nobody's going to listen to this show, so I really don't care. But there is plenty of adults who like literally watch the Harry Potter movies, like all of them, and never miss one, and probably watch them more than once. But again, I don't go up to these people and say, I don't go out of my way and say, hey, you know what? These movies are actually meant for little kids. They're not meant for grown adults to watch. So, reason I'm just bringing this whole thing up, because this is how much it did kind of bother me, that, apparently that I do things, and I've seen grown adults even go to these concerts, even if you want to go there. They're adults. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. You can't make any excuse. They're adults to go to these concerts for these meet and greets to see like these younger entertainers. So it's not just an isolated case. I'm not making an excuse up, even though it'll turn out that the one side in this are going to say, well, you're making up excuses. It's no, just because other people do it doesn't mean you can. Well, then maybe it would be best if you conglomerate me with these other people, and then you can't just pinpoint me out, because it's not going to make any change by picking on me. It's not going to change me. I mean, literally, it's not going to make any difference. Half my life is already over. In fact, maybe 3/4 of my life is over. I don't know how long I'll be alive for. And if I'm going to live my life like a textbook, that, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end on how I should live, one, it's going to be very boring. Because, I remember that one thing, or something I heard from one of my college courses, you can live or not live. I'm not even using the right terminology. It depends how you want to live your life. Let me put it this way. I'm just going to not go by a textbook, not by college. But I just live every day as it's a new day. I'm not going to live like, okay, let me look in my book. Okay, I'm 50 years old and I should act and look like this. I should dress like this. I'm not going to dress like a 5-year-old, but at the same time, I'm not going to dictate my life, because it's been dictated to me in our culture that this is where you should be at exactly in this part of your life. Because all you're doing is you're basically you're setting the time. In my opinion, you're setting the date for your death. You're because if you follow this textbook, there's got to be an end, which there will be either way. But I'd rather live my life and enjoy it instead of just living it miserably, just because it makes more sense, because that's the way I'm supposed to live. I'm not saying not to be responsible, because if that's the case, you wouldn't have 94 million people who just sit around, basically, because I found plenty of that stuff, who sit around, who don't want to work and really do expect everybody to pay for their rent and pay for their housing and pay for their cars and pay for their cell phones. And they should just basically, their whole life should be one nonstop, let me reproduce as many times as I can, have as many kids, and I don't have to take responsibility for them. That's not my job. That's your job. There's plenty of people out there that are like that. And they actually, probably at this point, thanks to the last 8 years, I hate to tell you, but they outnumber the people who actually are responsible in our society. So, but you don't hear people complain about them. You do on a small margin, like people like myself. But on a larger scale, people, well, one thing, they don't seem to care. But me saying that, you're going to say, well, Walter, why do you care? Well, because you care on me being not as bad, because I actually have a job, probably made a decent buck. I have a 401k. I have money set aside for a rainy day in case something would happen, or some misfortune would happen to my situation now. I prepared. I put money aside, almost $100,000. So the last thing I can say is, like, I did put money aside for that rainy day, for in case something seriously happens. It's not that I'm being irresponsible. I am actually the complete opposite. Just because, I may not fit the normal pattern doesn't mean I'm not being responsible. So, and this is way off from what I started from. I realized that at this point. It all started because of the whole thing with the movie deal. But you can't, what's that old saying? Remember that there's reasons for these cliche sayings. Don't judge a book by its cover. Well, that's exactly what you're doing. You can't judge me just because of the way I dress or act or whatever, the way I behave, because really what's more important than that is behavior is important, but what's more important, how responsible am I being? Do I have a job? Do I take care of my own financial situations and other things? Because there's plenty of people out there who do not. So if you're going to compare me to everyone else, then vice versa, you need to compare everyone else, you can't just compare me to everyone else without doing it the other way, because I'm part of this group. I'm not an individual that's basically Atlas who's holding the globe on the back of my between my arms. I'm not holding the whole globe up, and that by me buying toys or seeing children's movies, this whole thing is going to collapse. Like I'm the thread that's holding everything together, because I'm not. But I just had to get off. Now, again, I'm just saying that. I'm just venting. So, Matt, you mentioned that I should not take stuff seriously. I should just rub it off. So I'm just letting you know. You should probably do the same from anything I just said for the last, 35 minutes. Just to let you know. But God love you, dude. You've done a lot for me, too. So just let you know. I don't forget. I appreciate the stuff you've helped me with, too. But just don't get all bent out of shape because I'm complaining on the show that only yourself and I listen to. I mean, that's 2 people. Because there was only 1 listener this week. Literally, it was 1. Now, the one we did with other guests, those hit a lot more people because those particular shows, those people get their friends to listen in to that show and that show only. So you got to remember that. This show, nobody's going to listen to. Not one single person besides yourself and I. And even if there's a 3rd or 4th person, they're really not going to care, just to let you know. So anyway, there's some funny stuff. I got some not so funny stuff. One thing it was funny somebody put up, it was a road sign at a auto place, Napa Auto Pro, and it was a snapshot. It's really funny of some purple clover, and it says, things that tell the truth are small children, drunk people, and yoga pants. So that was pretty funny. Wow, I got a bunch of stuff listed now, which I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but I'm just taking a quick look in case there's anything of interest. So I'm doing that right now. I'm going to keep my show down to another 20 minutes. I'm amazed. I guess I can't get past or under an hour at most points. I can't really do it. Yeah, there is some interesting stories. We'll just add them and then decide later on what I'll do. Sorry for the pause. Oh, there's the rub. Yeah, a friend sent me a funny story about people sleeping at work, about the snow situation. We were supposed to get snow today, believe it or not, but in fact, we did not get really, honestly, we got nothing. We got 0. So I was all bent out of shape. It was like I actually got up a little earlier today. Yesterday, I slept, believe it or not, I slept until 6 at night. I was so exhausted. And normally, I'm never like that out of it that I can at least, get up out of bed, but at least by 2 or 12. No, I slept till 6 p.m., so that was actually really scary of me, I guess. Still going through this stuff to see if there's anything worth adding on. Not that I don't have enough. I have more than 20 minutes worth of stuff left. Let's see. I'm going to go through. I read about Pistachio Girl. I kept that up, actually, because I wanted to use that maybe as the video cover tonight from our video, the snapshot picture. Let me go through these stories as I have them posted. I haven't read from them in a long time. Dreamin' Demon, woman charged with possession child porn she used as a coping mechanism. This was in Pennsylvania, too. I found this one on my very own, but it was on Dreamin' Demon. Police have arrested a woman after they found hundreds of child porn images on her cell phone, including images of infants being sexually assaulted. This is from a woman, and it's not even an old woman. It's a younger woman, too, by the mug or the picture. Not a mug shot, but a picture of her young girl. Probably she's 28. Authorities began investigating 28-year-old Kathleen Placechek after receiving a cyber tip in August that led them to her mobile home where she lives with her mother. So her coping mechanism was watching little infants being sexually assaulted and little children. She got it helped her, deal with her issues. So she got arrested. So good for her. Here's a story again about, which really bothers me, is some woman or girl, whatever, who's a Muslim. And it says, teen who said she was harassed by Trump supporters goes missing. This was in New York. I just don't understand this stuff. A Muslim teen who said she was called a terrorist by a group of men harassing her on the subway earlier this month has been reported missing, police sources said. I seriously doubt, no offense, this is one thing I have to play the devil's advocate. I'm sure this was some type of thing just to, again, it just seems they are trying, this has been the longest, folks, since November, November 8th until even now. Seems like it's been a decade with all this ridicule and belittling and harassment towards Trump. Like, it seems like he's ran for 20 years in office. He's never even stepped forth. I mean, I've stuck through this stuff before, for these, this hiatus between when a new president is elected until they actually hit office. And it seems like a snap of the finger. But this time, it's just so freaking ridiculous that it's taken so long because of all this, these crybabies and these people just acting like they're being victimized or setting up themselves to be victimized or pretending they've been sexually assaulted or raped. It's gotten so out of hand that it seems like it's been almost like a decade, almost like 10 decades have passed. And we still got another almost month to go, if you think about it, because he's not elected until, if I remember correctly, it's somewhere like, January 20s, it's 27th or something. I have to see, inaugurated. I have to see this now, because I got to figure this out. I can't remember how to spell it, though. I know I'm not using the right word. Like, Trump's, I'll just put becomes president and on, because technically he's not president yet. On, see if I can figure this out. January 20th, so I apologize. I said the 27th. He'll be the 45th president, it looks like. It says, when does Donald Trump become U.S. president and what will happen during the inauguration, if that's the correct way to say it, which it probably isn't. He'll be sworn in as the 45th president. So, yeah, his inauguration is not going to be until the 20th. And I tell you, it's not even December. It's December 11th, so it's going to soon be December 12th. And it's seriously, folks, it seems like it's been like 10 decades, and it's only been a few weeks since he's actually, because now another thing that's entertaining is Hillary now, as Rush Limbaugh said, has lost for the third time because she lost back in 2008 towards becoming president. I think it was 2008 when she tried to run from Obama, and then again from Trump, and then when she was not happy with the results and she was trying to find fault in the people who voted for Trump and try to get recounts, she lost again. So she lost 3 times in a row. I mean, this whole thing is just aggravating. I'm sorry, it really is. I don't know. So my next story, by the way, is it's from NewJersey.com. It says New Jersey man who ran youth sports video company arrested on child charges. So it seems like there's a lot of child charges. Maybe all these people watch children's films and children's TV shows, and maybe this is the excuse for it. I don't know. So it was in Newark, New Jersey. A man who runs video production company focused on youth sports was arrested twice this month on child charges, authorities had mentioned. So that one is actually, you can find it on Facebook, on my Facebook page. And it's on the New Jersey link, like the New Jersey's website. Now, this one I wasn't going to read, still won't, but it was from a little entertaining to break up the stories I have. Daily Mail, camera shy? Why, not these guys. And there's their special type of monkey, because I can't pronounce their names. It's almost like maquis or something. Show why they are the happiest creatures in the animal kingdom with a series of grinning selfies. Like, you put a camera in front of these monkeys, they start like pretty much smiling. They get like entertained by the camera. They're not camera shy. In fact, they're the complete opposite. Even though I can't pronounce the name of these damn things, and it's actually pretty entertaining, the story. So, monkeys that are not camera shy. Most people are. Most even animals are camera shy, but these monkeys just like become goofballs when you put a camera in front of them. Some really good shots too, and they literally are smiling too. It's pretty cool. I had to make a joke because a friend put this on my Facebook page, and he made a joke. He says, "Yeah, a lot of guys will be buying into this particular thing. It's a camera. It's a calendar for 2017. Excuse me, I lost my voice for a minute. Daily Mail again. Carp a load of this. Carp, like carp as far as a fish. Bizarre carpazine or something like that. Carpazini or whatever. Erotic calendar shows naked and scantily clad women holding huge fish. This is no joke. It's a calendar with these hot-looking, well-endowed women holding big fish. No puns intended. Maybe all puns intended. I'm not quite sure at this point. But yeah, it's a calendar with hot women holding these rather humongous fish. And that's not the only humongous thing in these calendar pictures, if you get my drift. So that was very funny, and my friend Todd, it's for 2017. So yeah, a bizarre erotic calendar that is a true must-have for any passionate angler. Shows scantily clad and topless women holding huge slimy fish. And again, that's for 2017. I think that's pretty funny. That's hilarious. And I needed that, trust me. That one I definitely kind of needed. Let me see. Oh, here's another funny story. It's not really funny, but it was from New York Post. Thank you, Todd. Drunk dude accidentally chops off friend's penis with a chainsaw. So I just kind of commented, well, it was an accident, so, what can you do? With friends like these, a boozed-up Romanian man accidentally chopped off his buddy's penis with a chainsaw, and his wife and son watched a horror as reported. So there is a little more to the story, but you know what? It's actually 10 of, and I am going to keep this by hook or by crook within the hour spot, so I'm not going to go any further because I'm going to read about what I want to read about now. Now, here's one thing. We had a discussion today with some people that cut my hair. These guys are really cool. And it was from, well, not about this, but this story was related to. We were talking about Jason X. That was in 2002. That was actually one of the movies that Kane Hodder actually did play Jason, if I remember correctly. Looks like somethingfilm.com, but they have 13 things you may not have known about Jason X in this story. And actually, at first when I saw it, was me and a friend, Todd, who once had seen Jason X. And, what was I going to say? We saw it at a movie screening up in New York at Palisades Mall. It was literally, we had to sign out a questionnaire. Even though we bought our tickets, we had to sign out a questionnaire on, because it was a private screening, so to speak, and it was kind of cool. But at first I thought the movie was really bad, but then I watched it again. I was like, you know what? This is actually pretty freaking cool. But number one was, it was made because Freddy vs. Jason was stuck in development hell. That was number one reason. Number two was, where did the idea for Jason in space come from? Well, probably because there was Leprechaun in space as well as in the Hood. Quirky movies like that. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Number three, the idea for Uber Jason came from the discarded Freddy versus Jason script. So there you go. Number four, Lexa it was a dog, and Lisa Ryder had to be released from Jason X by a certain date to start Andromedia or something like that. These two chicks, and they were actually not bad looking at all. So they were tied into some other film. Number five was they were constantly rewriting the script throughout production. That was number five. So they had problems with the script. Number six, several of the characters owe their name to EverQuest, the game called EverQuest. Number seven, they actually rehearsed for a month, so it was not much time for a rehearsal. Number eight, Rowan, male love interest, was cut from the film 4 days in rehearsals. Whoever Rowan was. And I watched the film a million times, I just can't remember. Number nine was neither the casting director nor the director initially wanted to do the virtual reality scene. There's a scene in there, a virtual reality scene, that we actually talked about today. In fact, Kane Hodder talked about that scene. There's a virtual reality scene with Jason when he's souped up like into a cyborg, and he basically goes into this virtual thing so the people in the spaceship can live, try to survive. They divert Jason Voorhees into this virtual Camp Crystal Lake, and there's these two really hot breast implanted chicks that I have a story on breast implants I had to mention a little bit too, that are in sleeping bags, and they're like being goofy, and Jason just picks up the sleeping bags and like smashes them against the trees. And they were talking about that today, the guys who cut my hair, because the scene was so goofy, but the chicks were really hot. And it was funny because that exact scene, I remember distinctly. What do you call it? Kane Hodder said, yeah, I went through one of those screenings, and that particular scene, everybody stood up and cheered for that scene when the girls got killed. And he said, he doesn't understand, but the hero in these movies is the anti-hero, which is Jason. He's like the hero of these films. Like, people come back to see Jason. They don't come back to see people survive Jason. They want to see people get killed. It's kind of goofy, but I'm one of them. I enjoy the movies because they're so kind of campy. Anyway, that was number 9. Number 10 was David Cronenberg's cameo was done as a favor. So I didn't realize it, but yeah, Cronenberg was actually in that film. I didn't realize that. But also because he wanted to get killed on screen. So Cronenberg's done a lot of really cool movies, I'll tell you that much. A lot that I actually liked. So I didn't realize that was Cronenberg in the film of Jason X. Again, I've watched it a million times. Number 11, Mythbusters disproved the liquid nitrogen, which basically broke this girl's skull. It says liquid nitrogen head smash kill Mythbusters. Apparently, I guess that cannot happen is what they're trying to say. Because there's stuff underneath of that I did not read of these 10 things. So, actually, that was something I mentioned to these guys who cut my hair today, was the girl who got her head broken like glass once it was stuck in a vat of liquid nitrogen. It broke like literally shattered like glass. Because that scene really bothered me when I first saw it. I covered my eyes, believe it or not. I'm not even joking. So there was that. Back to the gruesome stories. I'm going to go back and forth. It kind of breaks it up. And I only got 6 more minutes if I want to stay on time. I'm going to probably go a little over. Another Daily UK Mail one. And you know what? You can just say I keep on harping on stuff, but I'm not the one who's actually harping on this. But it comes up all the time. Another story of a married high school teacher, English teacher, 29, sobs as she is jailed for sleeping with a male student, 16, while her husband-to-be was away on at a bachelor party. So, I'm not going to deny it. The woman was pretty hot looking. She actually has got like a pretty tight-fitting dress on at the thing, but she's going to spend 2 years in jail now. No ifs, ands, and buts. Now, she had a, what do you call it, a parole that was set, not parole, a bail that was set at $1,000. I mean, that's ridiculous. Because most guys who get charged with sexual assault, no offense, but their charges are against them are $1 million. That's generally what I see is about $1 million. But the women, they give them really low, like something that they could basically pull the money out of their pocket practically. That's happened before. It says, looks like Sarah Dorms or something, 29, cries and hugs her head. Yeah, hung her head as she was led away from the court in handcuffs after she was sentenced to a 2-year in prison sentence. So, you know what? A lot of people underneath, someone said, I always hear this. I'm so sick and tired of it, too. I constantly hear it's like, where are these teachers when I was a kid? I constantly hear this from guys. I mean, and to me, that's just like really disgusting. I'm sorry, but... And then I heard like some guy said, well, this guy's probably boasting about, this kid was 16. He's boasting about having sex with this teacher. It doesn't matter. But you know what? If the shoe's on the other foot and it's a 16-year-old girl having sex with a 29-year-old guy, all of a sudden she is like crushed for life. She's a fragile dandelion that's just going to basically wither away or die, and that women are that feeble. And it's like, no, they're not. Young girls are that feeble. They don't know better. Well, you know what? What happened to that, folks, that whole thing that girls mature much faster than guys? Remember that? I mean, maybe you don't remember. I do. Remember in school and all, and they brought this to your attention even on that Schoolhouse Rock or whatever, that girls mature at a much faster rate than men do. Mature much faster. But when it comes to sexual assault crimes, then all of a sudden, no, they don't. No, they don't. That's not true. So make up your fucking mind. Sorry about that. I just slipped that one out. The F-bomb. Make up your mind. Is it that they are fragile dandelions, or are they mature much faster than males do at the age of their teen years? Because you got to come up with something. You can't go back and forth to whatever is the way that favors the liberal left for that day. I'm tired of that crap. I don't want to slip again. I already did once. So anyway, one thing that was good masturbation material for me on something else, and it's not 16-year-olds, was from the Daily Mail, was Jennifer Gardner. She is actually really hot. She's still, I guess, or isn't she, married to Ben Affleck? But there's a lot of stories that they're following her around. Like, you talk about stalking, they are really stalking this woman. Jennifer Gardner, who's married to Ben Affleck, or was married to Ben Affleck, but they constantly get these pictures of her in spandex pants and showing her, they're catching her walking out of these workout places or cafes with lycra spandex and her ass hanging out, and they just take snapshots. I mean, talk about me, but these people, these paparazzi people, and she's 44, are just like obsessed with her body. I mean, it's not even funny almost, but it says natural beauty. Jennifer Gardner goes makeup free as she starts weekend with an early morning workout. It was with these 3 other women, and they're all coming out of like an exercise joint, and all of the above have spandex on, but hers, they made sure it is, and I not even kidding, they said money shot. Like when they caught her ass going into an SUV with her other friends, they said money shot when they got her ass shot on video. So, that's another thing I hear about. Oh, Walter, you kind of make it too obvious that you check out women. These guys make a freaking living off of taking videos of women in spandex that are celebrities, and they, quote unquote, they said money shot. So that's a lot more perverse than what I ever even imagined, and that I'm even too afraid to think of, even in my dreams. I mean, it's kind of like goofy. It's going on like 1 hour, so I'm going to cut this down and quickly read through the rest of these stories. Here's something a little bit lighter from Me TV, I apologize. 13 most desired toys of the 1970s, year by year. This one's actually really cool. Micronauts, that was one. Micronauts, I don't remember those. Stretch Armstrong was another one. And then Mattel Electronic handheld games. I remember my brother buying those. I thought they were the best things, too. Well, here, the other ones are Nerf Ball, Weebles. Weebles wobble, they don't fall down. This is like in order. I'm not going to read the years because I don't have time, but you can find it on Me TV. The skateboard for $14, actually $10. Evel Knievel stunt cycle. I actually had that. The Evel Knievel guy, the stunt guy, the doll and the motorcycle and the little thing you spin it up on. Megna Doodle. Never had that. I don't think. Pet Rocks. I had a Pet Rock. Pong. Yes, I did have Pong. Once again, Stretch Armstrong, which came out, was 75 cents when it first came out. My parents were probably really happy if I was into that. That actually came out in 1980 for that one, at least. Another 80s toy was, again, the Micronauts, which actually was a predecessor, I would assume, to, Transformers, I would assume. Once again, Mattel Electronics Football, the handheld games. I remember my brother owning those. Now, here's one. It's a goodie, but an oldie. Simon, the game Simon, the handheld thing. You had to push the buttons in the same sequence as they went off. And Speak and Spell. Other things very big till this day, believe it or not, it was Star Wars. Star Wars toys. Back in 77 and 79, there was the start of all this stuff. And the last one, oh, no, there isn't anymore. I apologize. It's other things. Because I see a picture, actually, which I will add in, because it said, see more, 10 most wanted Christmas toys of the 1960s. One I actually owned, and that was the G.I. Joe doll, the original the G.I. Joe, the 12-inch action figure. So that was really cool. Again, since I'm kind of over 1 hour by 1 minute, I'm just going to go. I actually had to look this up because women are always obsessed about people checking them out. But yet they spend tons of money on breast augmentations and butt augmentations. And believe it or not, the butt one actually surpasses the breast implants almost, on one of the stories I read. So I found one from 538.com, and that one gave percentages. I actually wanted to put in what are the percentages of women who get breast augmentations. And cosmetic procedures from 1998 to 2012 was a large increase by almost from 100% or 100, a percentage, 100% to up to 400K. So that was a large increase, no puns intended, on the amount of women getting breast augmentations. Or actually, I should say breast enlargements. And then it goes through these statistics. It says a sharp rise in butt augmentations, too. Women who like larger butts or butts that are more bouncy and round, that actually rose from like nothing back in 2002 that it like won off this chart by 2012. Like that's a important thing. Now, when I see women, they cover up their ass right away because they don't want me to check them out. They think there's something bad about me taking a glance, at a woman's ass. But yet, according to this story, guess what? That surpassed breast implants by like a large amount. I can't give you a specific thing, but I found this actually on 538.com. So that's kind of being a little hypocritical, too. Well, we don't want you to look unless you're the right guy. And generally, these guys, the women want them, the women who want guys to look at them, these guys are like the lowest common denominator. Well, Walter, you're just like taking this personally. You're pissed off because you're not one of the guys that these women want you to look at. Well, that's not the point. Somebody's got to be paying for all this stuff, too. And generally, some of this stuff, thanks to our, president, that caused an increase. A lot of these women feel like not only their birth control should be covered by government assistance, but also if they don't feel happy with their body, because there's like men who want to become women, we're supposed to pay for that too. Sex change operations and body augmentations should be basically paid out of our pocket. So yeah, if I'm investing money in this stuff, and I have nothing to show for it, yeah, I am very pissed. I don't know what else to say. There's another one I found, PacificHeightsPlasticSurgery.com. It's an actual place you get surgery done. And it gives you the percentage on both the breast and the butt implants, or breast and butt augmentations. And it says the percentages are really high, mostly on the West Coast, pretty much all of the West Coast. You don't see much for the East Coast, but trust me, I've seen plenty that have on that, have gotten it done. Now, here's something funny. Age distribution of women with breast implants. Now, get this. The average age of a woman who gets implants is 34 years old. But guess what? This particular website, again, it's called Pacific Heights Plastic Surgery. They've actually given, it's a very small percentage, but it's still there, ages 13 to 18 who have gotten breast augmentations, 3%, 13 to 18 years old, girls who have gotten, now these are the same ones that are victimized if they get sexually assaulted by a guy, according to what sexual assault would mean, which means the complete opposite when it's a older woman making sexual advances or having sex with a teenage boy. Now, let me repeat this. 3% have gotten breast enhancements at the ages between the ages of 13 to 18 years old. That is a small amount, but what is the percentage average from? How many people? Because it's the whole entire West Coast who've gotten this breast enlargements, including Hawaii. And you're talking California, looks like Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Washington, Idaho, Oregon, Michigan. No, not Michigan. Is that Michigan? Well, there's plenty of states, including Hawaii. 20 years old to 29 year olds who get breast augmentations is 30%. And 30-year-olds to 39-year-olds getting breast enlargements are of the age of 36%, or not the age, but percentage of 36%. 40 to 54-year-olds who get breast augmentations, breast enlargements, are 28%, and anyone over 55 is about 2%. Now, there is a small percentage, it does say, who gets breast reduction, but for the most part, it says an estimate, it's like 5, well, I can't read that number. I'm going to mess it up. So I'm going to leave it to the person who wants to dig into my percentile and saying, well, Walter, it says 39% increase in breast implants from 2000 to 2010. The thing that makes me question this whole story is that there is an age bracket who get this done at the ages between 13 to 18. Yet you will, at the same time, these same people are say, well, these young women or young girls are victims. Well, this goes back to that thing. You can't hold a double standard, and doing this is not going to help the issue at all. Making a young teenage girl who is still developing, their bodies are still developing between 13 to 18, and probably they stop at 16, but still, either way, allow them to get this stuff done. I knew a couple of the younger girls at our job who their parents paid for breast enlargements for these young girls who got jobs at where I work. So, yeah, all that does is cause a little bit more of them to be very hard to deal with, these people, because their attitude just goes way above what anybody could handle. It'd be like trying to lasso a wild horse because they're so out of control in many ways. And ironically, two of the people I know, women, at my job who had breast enlargements, both of them are single mothers too. Isn't that kind of ironic? Well, it has nothing to do with each other, Walter. Well, I think it kind of does, but what do I know? I'm just a person who watches children's films and TV shows, so I wouldn't know any better. And I'm a child molester probably too, in that matter. Anyway, another story I think was from the TimesTribune.com. I think my friend Todd sent this to me. And I'm going to try to cut this short. New Jersey stripper arrested in Scranton on robbery warrant. Lily worked as a dancer at New Jersey strip club Stage Dolls. Sometimes she would meet men to secluded places outside of work, and sometimes police said her boyfriend would rob these men at gunpoint. On Thursday, Scranton police had arrested Lily, whose real name is Kayla Candy Rodriguez, after they found her in the West Side, Hackenstown, New Jersey. Police alerted local officers that she was hiding from their warrant here. So she was hiding. She was setting up people, guys, at the strip club to meet her outside, and then she had a boyfriend that would rob these guys. Reading down, you can find this again. It's on the Tribune, the TimesTribune.com. Something about $800. When a man arrived, he told police Mr. Franklin stuck a gun, I guess that's her boyfriend's name, in his face and demanded a valuable. Mr. Franklin took his cell phone and $800 in cash, the victim reported. So basically this guy got robbed for $800 and plus his cell phone. So there's more to the story, but again, it's past my hour point that I didn't think I was going to make. And again, this just goes to show you, but most people would say, well, she's not, but, she's, helpless. She's defenseless. She's a hot chick. She's a stripper, so we should forgive her, even though what she is doing is truly, both it's pretty much prostitution material, even though she didn't, she was setting herself up for prostitution, but then also plain downright, it's robbery too. And harassment, threatening with somebody with an assault weapon. I mean, there's issues I'm not pronouncing correctly or giving the right statement to or whatever. But these are all very serious charges. And you can't take that with a grain of salt because I sound like a broken record, I realize, but if the shoe was on the other foot, this would not even stand around. There's too many people too many men, very few of them, but there's too many men out there who are just way too chivalrous towards situations like this that really somebody needs to put their foot down on this. I don't know who it will be, but they really do. So that might be the last of my stories, actually. Actually, there was one that ended on not an uplifting note, but it's actually a very heart-wrenching note. I found this one. New York Post added a video of a heart-shattering moment where this young guy, I don't know what his purpose was, but he was dying. And so his loved ones were around him. And the video is very heartwarming from New York Post. Even his owner, a dog, his owner, a dog that he owned, and the dog was there kind of like perplexed that he would no longer, or I assume it was a male dog. No, it's a female. It says, this is the heart-shattering moment. A dog says goodbye to her dying owner. So I couldn't barely get through it because it was so heart-wrenching. But this guy's on life support, and I guess they were ready to take him off, the mom and the dad. Very young guy, too. And the guy owned a dog, and the dog was there. She was there, the dog, for the last moments of this man before he was pulled off of life support. So that was actually something I would say watch. It was very heart-wrenching. It is absolutely true. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Stuff like that just kind of gets to me. Hey, there's a couple other stories. Maybe I'll just kind of fit them in real quick. I saw these. I totally forgot about them. One was from Christopher Morbid Lee. It's the same guy that, obviously runs the Dreamin' Demon. Woman charged with murder after pouring boiling water on a paralyzed father. That was an interesting story. I won't go into that. Another one was Christopher Morbid Lee. Babysitter fatally scandaled by, or no, I'm sorry, babysitter fatally scalded by steam from homeless shelter's busted radiator. Dream and Demon also. That was in New York. These are stories you could actually look up on my Facebook page. Yeah, you will. And it's mainly on my main page. It's not on my iWalter Facebook page, but my main page. Another one was kind of weird was scientists are baffled by how many two-headed sharks they've been encountering. You know, there is that strange thing where once in a while animals or people, humans, I guess the cells divide into what would normally be, a twin, but the twins don't quite separate completely, so they're joined somewhere. And there is a story with some really cute-looking girls that actually were attached. That they're literally young girls, very cute, but they have two heads but one body. I'm not even joking. And I'm sure they're like, the point of interest to people that like to pick on these girls. But it's got to be hard for them. They get along, obviously, very well. No puns intended. But honestly, I hope the best for them because they are adorable-looking girls. But unfortunately, they share one body and they have two heads. And they seem quite contented with that. And that's no joke. That's something you can find if you look for it. Not to try to, but there was another one that was kind of interesting, not on that line, but the shark thing was kind of weird. It's like what causes this formation that creatures and humans basically are like the division of cells or whatever you want to call it during conception doesn't quite even go as far as being joined at the hip or the leg or whatever. It's actually just sharing the same body. It's kind of unique. This is something totally different. I was going to look up this film. A friend sent me as a joke. Had nothing to do with what I just read. So please don't try to say that I'm trying to make fun of people that are twins that haven't separated completely at all and just basically are sharing, sharing the same body. But this was something on a note I have to leave with. But it was a movie I have to look up if anybody ever heard of it or seen it, but I have the video for parts of the film. I don't think it's the whole thing. Yeah, it's about a minute of this film from 1959 called The Alligator People. And I've seen a lot of really horrendous movies, some B horror movies, but this one has to take the cake because, again, it's called The Alligator People from 1959, and it's got to be the most hilarious looking film that I've ever seen because it's literally a guy in an alligator costume. Makes no sense at all, but I'd be curious to see that one. Anyway, folks, it is going to be going into Monday morning. So thank you very much for listening to me. Right now, I'm actually in the background, the foreground, whatever you want to call it. There's this new TV station. It's not new to anyone else, but if you're on Verizon, they added it on because it was actually, from what I understand, it was a Comcast cable network station. They added to Verizon now, and it's called El Rey, where they show like some really cool films. If you're into, I'm trying to think like these classic karate movies, which most of them aren't that bad. I mean, the ones with Bruce Lee, Jet Li, and some other ones, and then they're going to have no puns intended, but they're going to have a Godzilla marathon for Christmas, like for 4 days. And right now they're showing the Death Wish movies, which are really cool. They're actually showing Death Wish 2. They showed it before, but they even advertise that anything before, I'm trying to think, anything before 9 p.m. is going to be edited. Anything after 9 p.m., the editing is going to be reduced drastically. So they just do that assuming that, most people, children or whatever, who can't watch or, see certain things because parents would get upset, they make sure that they don't put anything on that is very offensive until after 9 o'clock. So that's kind of cool, too. But the movies they show are pretty wild. Because, I mean, it's a little bit of a change. I mean, I get to watch these classic movies. Now, it's funny because I have, what do you call it? I'm trying to think. I haven't watched it yet. It's only $5 a month. I'm wasted. Another one I would actually recommend. You can get it. Let me think. You can get this on, if you have Apple TV, it's the best way to get it, is Shudder TV, where you can see all these, what do you call it? These classic horror movies of all types. They actually added on Rob Zombie's 31, and they even added on Shudder, which you can get at $5 a month. And if you have an Apple TV, you can get it on any unit. But Apple TV is the one I had it on my PlayStation 4. Now I got rid of that anyway. The PlayStation 4, I sold it off because I didn't need it. But the Apple TV, I got that Shudder TV, where, again, you can get, like, not only just a movie, you can get actually the commentaries and everything else. Like, they give you everything on Shudder. And, again, it's like for $5 a month, so it's really kind of almost worth it. And, unfortunately, right now I haven't taken advantage. I haven't watched any of the films they have on there, but they got all types of horror films, like any type of horror film is you find it on Shudder. So thanks again, folks. It is Walter from iWalter. Unfortunately, it's going to be an hour-and-a-half show almost. Not quite, but close enough. And I actually wanted to make it like that much shorter, like 30 minutes shorter. So, everyone, again, it's my final countdown because I'll try to do these on the weekends, at least once a weekend, as it gets towards New Year's and stuff. Oh, that's right, folks. I forgot to mention, I am hoping now that on New Year's Day, I will be doing a show with Ryan Logston, who I did one last year around New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. I'm going to be doing that once again with Ryan and hopefully Todd Thomas. So I'll have a trio again like I did with Matt, that show, because that actually did pretty well for me. The show I did with with Matt Tarns and with Ed Rick and myself, we're going to have it'd be another trio. So I'm actually very psyched about that. Because shows when I have more than one guest on or somebody besides myself on the show generally does, it actually causes or creates more listeners, at least for that one particular episode. It doesn't last long, but I'll take it when I can get it, when I can get other people to listen in, because I have somebody worth listening to besides just me talking for an hour and a half. So thanks again. I keep on saying this, but I'm going to end it. The show's over for tonight. And for until another week is, another weekend comes up. So thanks again. It's Walter from iWalter, and everyone have, this upcoming week, have a good week. I'm not going to say a weekend because it's over now. Have a good week. This is Walter from iWalter, and I am signing off right now.